Good morning. As always, it's good to see you. And I agree with Ross about our visitors. We're glad that you've come our way. Hope that you will come again. And for those who are bound by home at this time, we're sorry you can't be here, but look forward to the time you can be. This morning I want to bring a thought to you about personal life, and this is really going to be is mainly toward individuals and who we are and what we're doing, and I'm going to begin with the crossing of the Red Sea without going into that whole story. I'm not really trying to do that, but I'll remind us for this part of what's going on. That as Pharaoh drew near, the sons of Israel looked, and behold, the Egyptians were marching after them, and they became very frightened, so that the sons of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, "Is it because there were no graves in Egypt that you've taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you dealt with us this way, bringing us out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we spoke to you in Egypt, saying, 'Leave us alone that we may serve the Egyptians'? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the wilderness." But Moses said to the people, "Do not fear. Stand by and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you have seen today, you will never see them again forever. The Lord will fight for you while you keep silent." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the sons of Israel to go forward. For as for you, lift up your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it, and the sons of Israel shall go through in the midst of the sea on dry land." And so here we have it. What I want to call attention to is the idea that this is a desperate moment. And I don't think it's a desperate moment for the Israelites this way. I think it's a desperate moment for every person in the group. Oh, my side, look what's coming. The strongest army in the world is coming after us right now, and we're unarmed. What are we going to do? There is no place to go. What shall I do? I don't have an answer. And there's a time when every one of us, at some point in time, sometime in your life, and really many times in your life, I don't have the answer of what needs to happen here. I don't know what to do. I am perplexed. It could be about strength things that I don't know if I have the strength to handle what's going on. I'm already loaded. Okay, it could be something that has to do with plans that you have for the future, and I don't see how I'm going to get through all of this. It could be about financial means and money. I don't have enough money to complete the task that I need. I don't know what to do. It can be about some experience that you just had, as they are having. Oh, my side, I never expected life to be like this. It could be over wisdom. I don't know what to do because I see two choices and neither one of them are good. I just don't have enough. And so with this and looking at it, we have the Red Sea before us that's blocking us. We have the Egyptian army coming this way, and there is no way out by human standards. How are we going to get out of this? You see, all that can happen is that what they do is they panic inside. Some of them let that cry out and make noise. And so, why did you bring us here to die? Fear narrows vision. They see the army. They see their weakness. They see no escape. They forgot the plagues. Have they seen the power of God? Yes, they've seen the power of God mightily. And yet, they've forgotten all about what God can do. There was evidently no faith generated by this, only the fact that God saved us. Thank you very much. They forgot the power of God. And so, I want you to consider this as you consider these two little questions for yourself, that when we reach the end of ourselves, my solutions, do you discover whether we trust God or not? You see my point? That's what happens. That's why the lesson is about us. This is not about them. That Israel being trapped from a human standpoint, that families aren't soldiers and this great military that's behind them. And Moses says, stand by and see the salvation of the Lord. Okay, and so we have that. The answer is not in Israel's strength. It's not in Israel's strategy. It is in God. Now, you would expect the people of God who have waited 400 and plus years to be freed from slavery, crying out. How soon do you think they started crying out, oh, save us from this? I think it started within the first generation. Help me, Lord, to endure what we're enduring. Hebrews 11:29 says, by faith they passed through the Red Sea. I don't see that faith. I see Moses' faith. I see God's power and might and love for his own people. But I don't really see their faith so much. But it says that by their faith they went through. Because do you know what else it takes to go through the Red Sea? How deep is the Red Sea at that particular place? I said, I don't even know. If we say it's 100 feet, then that means when they build up the walls of the sea on each side, that's going to be 200 feet high. Okay, guys, march. How would you feel walking through that, knowing it could come down at any moment? And that it wouldn't be the Egyptians dead, it's going to be us dead. Would that take some faith to walk at this point? And I want you to understand, I think it does, and that's what this is talking about. God didn't remove the sea, God made a way through the sea. So many times we ask God to remove a hardship, don't we? Oh, Lord, help me. Take this away. But God prepares to lead us through the hardship, not take it away. Faith still has to walk, you see. Walls of water, danger all around. And I want you to understand, faith does not equal understanding everything. They don't understand. Faith doesn't mean that I get to know how it's going to all end and what's the end of the story before we begin. No, I don't know all of that. Faith equals trusting enough to keep walking. Now, we know the whole book of Ephesians is about walking with God, and there's a reason for that. Isaiah 43:2 says, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Not if, when. When? Psalms 23:4, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, you are with me. Now, on whose side is that? You see, who is the one that generates that? And I want us to understand it's each of us individually. And so through all the experiences of life where you've ignored what God told you to do, when you tried it your own way, when you did it and thinking that you were doing right and it failed, did you turn the finger around and say, ooh, I should have listened to God? Are we that way? You see, God's promise isn't always to remove the problem. He is often present in the trouble. And so that's what we have to understand. As I'm getting older, I'm beginning to understand it more. Okay, when things don't work just like they used to, there's no stamina left, those kinds of things. But I just want you to understand, here's the goal of what we're talking about. How do I act when it gets tougher. Then I want you to think for a second about Jonah. Now, we looked at Jonah a couple weeks ago or so in the Minor Prophets class, but in Jonah 1, the word of the Lord came to Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, "Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me." But Jonah rose up to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. So he went down to Joppa, found a ship which going to Tarshish, paid the fare, and went down into it to go with them to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. Jonah's going to go the other way. And we talked about all that, and we understand, okay, that Jonah doesn't want Nineveh to be saved. He doesn't care about who they are. They are our sworn enemies, and let them die. God, kill them. Please, hurry. And as we know, there comes this great storm. He gets thrown overboard because he's the reason why, and all those kinds of things are going on. And then Jonah prayed in the belly of the fish. Now, have you ever given any real thought to being in the belly of a great fish? Do you think there's any room in there? Do you think you're all squeezed up in stuff and that you're pinned down? Or was he sitting up contemplating, I wonder what I should do now? You know, I'm thinking, you've just been eaten. What are you going to do? And that's really where he is, you see. This prayer, I called out in my distress. Here, I actually have it. Jonah prayed to the Lord from the stomach of the fish, and he said, I called out of my distress to the Lord, and he answered me. I cried for help from the depth of Sheol. I'm a goner. That's where he is. You heard my voice. For you had cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the current engulfed me. All your breakers and billows passed over me. So I said, I have been expelled from your sight. Nevertheless, I will look again toward your holy temple. Water encompassed me to the point of death. The great deep engulfed me. Weeds were wrapped around my head. I descended to the roots of the mountains. Is this man desperate? This is desperation if I've ever heard it. Lord, I have no place to go. The earth with its bars was around me forever, but you have brought me up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. While I was fainting away, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you in your holy temple. And those who regard vain idols forsake their faithfulness. But I will sacrifice to you with the voice of thanksgiving. That which I vowed I will pay. I did wrong, and I know I've done wrong. And this is repentance while he's at it. It is desperate repentance. See, sometimes people trust themselves until self fails. And that's just what happened to him. And now, I'm asking you, have you ever had a desperate prayer? See, some of you have, I'm sure, but I'm not sure that everyone has. But there is a time when things are desperate. He makes this point. Sometimes, you see, God allows the Red Sea to be before us, allows ourselves to be swallowed by the fish, so that we finally look up. I have a point about the Roman soldiers under the cross, that while they're gambling for his clothes, the greatest event of all times is happening right above their head, and they're so busy with what's down here, they don't even look up. How many times do we do that? That when we need God, we're looking in the wrong place. Then there's Gideon. In Judges, the 6th chapter, the angel of the Lord came and sat under the oak that was in Ophrah, as Gideon was beating out wheat in the winepress in order to save it from the Midianites. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said to him, "The Lord is with you, O valiant warrior." Now here's a guy that is in a conquered land, beating out wheat underground, because if he gets seen, they will take the wheat away from him. And he's trying to do everything in secret. And he says, "Warrior, warrior, you talking to me?" And he can't believe it. So that Gideon doesn't feel like he's valiant. He actually questions God, doubts self, fears others. He destroys Baal's altar, but he does it at night so that nobody will know who did it, except everybody ends up knowing that he did it. He's afraid, but he still obeyed. He still walked forward. What's important, that faith is not the absence of fear. I need to understand that. You see, is it a matter of knowing how God will do things, or the concept of believing that he will do something for your situation? That's the point. That's the point in our lives, is that we march along doing what we think is right and whatever may be until we hit that place that we have a problem. And when we have a problem, where do you go? Do you go to the encyclopedia? Do you Google your problem? Or do you go to God? You see, that's the kind of thing that we have to come to an understanding of. Faith equals trusting while I'm afraid. Afraid, still obeyed. Faith's not the absence of fear. How many of us sit knowing that there are things that I could do that I don't do, okay, because of fear? I've never done that before. And I let that fear control me, and I won't try. Do you understand what this is telling us? Modern fears about our health, or about children, or about finances, or loneliness, or failure, or future, all those things have something in the foreground that I don't know what's going to come, and I have to march into that, and I have to do it anyway. You see, faith does not remove the trembling. It simply keeps moving. That's what we do. And so, how about the paralytic man? Mark 2 talks about him being lowered through the roof. And Mark 2:5, and Jesus, seeing their faith, said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." And he gets up and walks. Now, whose faith got him there? You see, sometimes we don't make the connections we need to make. The paralytic man couldn't get there on his own if he ever, with all he's trying. He could never. But that's not what happened. His friends saw that. I want you to understand that there's a lesson being taught in this is not simply, sometimes God's answer is not independence, but other faithful people. When you get put into the place where you're surrounded by people who are good people, you should be shaped by that. People who encourage, who carry us spiritually, who help us to keep believing, even in the days when I don't know how I'm going to keep believing today. Galatians 6:2, bear one another's burdens and thereby fulfill the law of Christ. God never intended for his people to walk alone. Now, I'm making a plea that we're discussing in the Corinthian class, but I want to make it here and now. I need you. You need me. I mean, that's the whole point. We need everyone here. We need to be the kind of family that sees one another and hears one another, hurts when they hurt, rejoices with them when they rejoice. We need to do those things. Jesus stood, you see, for what? Of all things, compassion is what leads him to a great deal of what he does. And please, I'm not trying to take away, he's under orders. He's here to do a job that his Father sent him on. And I got that. But I'm going to tell you, when it comes to people, nothing moves him like someone that is hurting, whatever that may be. And so when we see this, you see, God just never intended for that. But now then we have Jesus. What did he go through? I think we all know. We just remembered for what those things are. Jesus was in that place. This is the garden. And when you start wondering, what was he praying about when he was sweating drops as if blood? What was that about? Because there was no visible way forward. The time has come. It is today. I want you to think about things for just a second. Do you think that he thinks that the disciples are ready? He says, I've got to go away so that the helper will come to you, but they don't even know. They're still fighting over who's going to be on the right and who's going to be on the left. They're still doing stuff that they don't understand. Peter gets into the garden, draws a sword. It's not about a sword. Put your sword up, Peter. What? Put my sword up? This is the time for us to revolt. I'll fight all 450 of them. No, put your sword up. He doesn't see the way. It's the Red Sea all over again. No visible way forward. Rejected, beaten, mocked, crucified. From a human viewpoint, total defeat. Total defeat. But Jesus trusted the Father. Into your hands I commit my spirit. Now, if I was going to ask you a question this morning, I would ask you, have you committed your spirit to God? Oh, you're going to make mistakes. I know that. We're still going to cross the line and do all the things that we do. But have you committed your spirit to God? And are you trying to make yours look like his? One that believes regardless of circumstance when there is no place to go. Then the resurrection. But the spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, and he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your immortal bodies through his Spirit who dwells in you. You see, we have to invite that in. We have to desire that. We have to seek it. The resurrection proves God's power, God's faithfulness, God's love. Trust in God is never wasted. The cross equals surrender. And Jesus showed us how we do that. So one day, you will not know what to do. I can be assured of that. One day, I don't know what to do. Maybe it's going to be the doctor's news. Maybe it'll be marriage strain. Maybe it'll be child heartbreak. Maybe loneliness. You ever been alone in a crowd? Fears at night. I can't see the way, therefore there is no way, is not a true statement. The Red Sea teaches that God already had dry ground prepared. He knew what he was going to do. And so I'm telling you, don't let maybes control you. Too many variables, too many fears, no solutions. Wait for the truth. Wait for the Lord. Then act faithfully. And maybe while you're afraid, understand that God is preparing the way of where you're going. I've always heard if a door gets closed, God will open a window, that kind of a thing. Maybe while confused, God is making a path that has been unseen. Maybe while asking why, God is teaching deeper trust. Real question. When standing before your own Red Sea, will you trust God enough to keep walking before you see the outcome? It's the answer every one of us carries with us every day. So I'm asking you to make a decision. To make a decision about who you're going to be going forward. And that you would review that decision on a regular basis. And the first decision is, am I going to become a Christian? If there's ever anyone that is considering that, my resounding answer would be yes, and let it be today. And so we would want that. All things are ready for that. But if you are fighting your battle, if you're fighting the thing that you never thought could happen, I want you to look to God. And if you do, a way will present itself. And if we can help you, won't you come as we stand and sing?